Well, hi everyone. I'm Laurent, co-founder of RED-DOLPHIN distribution in Switzerland. In this episode, we are going to talk about a new brand. This brand is at the corners of several domains like food tech, outdoor, green tech segments. This brand is named Full Windsor. Good morning, Mark.
How's it going, Lauren?
Hey, good. And we have Mark Windsor with us today. We are proud at RED-DOLPHIN to represent your brand in Switzerland, Mark.
Yeah, it's good having you on board.
I discovered Full Windsor and your famous MAGWARE via a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign back in November 2019. Tell us, Mark, how did it all start?
So I guess I'll give you a bit of background about me and how the Full Windsor began. So
Please.
My whole background is industrial design. So studied industrial design at university, and then always worked as an industrial designer for many furniture companies. I'm originally from New Zealand, and then quite a while back I moved to London, where I worked for some quite big design agencies as an industrial designer. And then 2011, I decided to go my own way and try my own thing. So I've always been a keen cyclist and keen the outdoors. And our first product I released was actually a foldable mudguard. It was for bicycles. So you could clip it on and off your bike in a matter of seconds. So you didn't have to permanently have mudguards on your bicycle. So we launched it on Kickstarter, which was just like a fledgling website at the time. Just begun, and that's how we sort of got going. We got quite a bit of traction, started selling in bike products and bike stores in the UK, and then it's always progressed slowly. So we've always been bootstrapped, so we've never had any outside investment. So I've just ran the company organically. So it's always been just the money that we bring in through sales has kept the company going. We're still very small. There's two of us that work full-time on it, and then probably about 10 freelancers that jump on and off.
So you're not the kind of startup who goes after VCs in California and making pitch here, left, right, and center to raise money.
No, we've never taken any money from anyone. It's all just been self-funded. So it's all just been, I think I put a little bit of money in to get it going at the beginning, but then it's all just come from sales. So just bootstrapped the whole way. Crowdfunding helped a lot with that. So we've always had a strong community right from the get-go, just of people passionate. And when we moved from the the cycling market into more of the outdoor market, probably about 5 or 6 years ago now, and I just found it to be a lot more exciting marketplace. There's a lot more opportunities, and it's sort of room for more exploration as well. And at the same time, we actually moved from the UK over to America. I'm speaking to you from Los Angeles. Why we did that is that we started doing an outdoor retailer show, and we got really good traction with the biggest outdoor store in the US, which is called REI. They have about 200 stores here. They're sort of world known for their high caliber of products and sort of the stores and the experience they have. So we got in with them, and then I just saw the US market as a big opportunity and a lot more willingness to try some small brands as well than we were experiencing in the UK. So it made complete sense to move the company across here to the US. So we've been in Los Angeles ever since. And so Full Windsor, the name comes, my last name's Windsor. Full Windsor is a tie knot. But then it's sort of, it was just to give the brand, we had a playful feel as well. We had a monkey with a tie knot used to be our logo. We've sort of changed that when we moved to the outdoor market, and we sort of redone the brand a bit. But that's how the name came about, and we've stuck with it.
Great, thanks. And now, if you would describe, so moving from the bike and you are a biker yourself, to the MAGWARE. Is it fair to say that right now the emblematic solution or products you designed and are selling the most is MAGWARE?
Yeah, so I guess with the bike products and as well some of our earlier outdoor products, they were quite they served their purpose in terms that they were very targeted within a niche. So the cycling, we have a few bike multi-tools that we sell, and they were sort of targeted towards the commuter and the general cyclist. In terms of what they were doing is they were taking elements like a tire lever, a multi-tool, and a box head spanner, and combining them together. So when you're commuting on your bike, then you can just chuck one tool in your bag and it does everything. And also the leverage with the tool of the design is much better than sort of the Swiss Army fold out design. But that's what we were. And then we brought out the muncher and the splitter multi-tongs titanium, and they were sort of really targeted. Yeah, you see the muncher there on the right. They were very targeted at sort of the lightweight backpacking. And then the MAGWARE sort of changed everything in terms of we started appealing to a much wider audience. Anyone with our mouth is our target market now. So it wasn't much ubiquitous product. It could be used by someone that's just, MAGWARE can be used by someone that's just chucking it in their bag. So they're not, how it sort of came about, the actual original idea was from sustainability point of view, just the amount of single-use plastic utensils being binned every time. I just wanted to address that problem with design. And then so I just wanted to have a solution that was very easy to carry, very functional and simple as well. No need to overcomplicate it, but bring a little bit of innovation and also high quality materials into the design, and solve the solutions that someone would really enjoy eating with it and want it to carry it with them everywhere, as a alternative to every time they go to a cafe or get fast food or anything.
Quick testimony from my side. They are always in my bag now. And
yeah,
just how came the idea of those magnets, like the three elements of your cutlery stick together with the magnets to combine like this and get something so thin? How did you get there?
So I started just looking at utensils in general, and what innovation could be applied to it. And I found one of the most annoying things with the current solutions is just they rattle about in your bag. And even if you have a case, there's quite a lot of solutions that have a carabiner that holds them together, but it's not a great solution because they still rattle around and you have to undo the carabiner every time you wanted to use them. So my solution was, well, why can't we just put magnets in them? And then they can just pull apart and then just put it back together. But the other thing that once I started going down that road that I found is, well, not only can you just hold one set together, then you can start to connect multiple sets together, because the way we've designed the features to have a male and female, you can just keep joining them and joining them and joining them. You can have like as many sets as you want. So then I looked at, is there like an optimum amount of sets that people would actually want? And we came up with the family set that has 5 sets, and that's perfect for taking picnics, camping. They're amazing for things like people in their van or camper vans, because they all hold together in one tight little bundle, and they don't rattle or anything, where most people that go camper vanning have a cutlery drawer that rattles around when they're driving about. And this you can literally just pick up as one unit when you're going camping, going down the road for a picnic, and you have one thing rather than a whole collection or a box of cutlery that you're taking with you. So that little innovation, which originally I just applied to the single set, then we made it so yes, you can keep on adding as many sets as you want together. If there's 2 of you going, just add 2 knives, 2 forks, 2 spoons together.
And from the idea and the magnets to making it real and creating this, what hurdles and problems you faced that you did not anticipate?
So I make many headaches for myself, as I like very high quality items. So all our products are sort of at the high end of the each product category. And the reason we do this is then we can use the best materials that we want. So what came beyond this, so we've used titanium and things other that and other materials in the past. But then I realized the best material for this would actually be aluminium in terms of to get the design that we wanted and to get the form that we wanted, particularly of the spoon, the depth and things, and the thickness of material, just to be comfortable to hold. Aluminium was the key, but I wanted it to be as strong as possible. And so we actually came up with the idea to use 7075 grade aluminium, which actually has a better weight to strength ratio than grade 2 titanium. But it's incredibly expensive and it's very hard to tool in terms of to get the form exactly right, just because of its sheer hardness. So that's when I created all the problems for myself. It took us a long time to get the tooling right to be able to. We didn't want to. So with our titanium products in the past, I've done like what they call heat, beat, and treat, where you actually heat up the molten material, then put it into the tooling, and then stamp it, where that deforms products and sometimes create weaknesses and things. So we wanted to cold press this. So we're using this really hard grade of aluminium that's not usually used for this sort of application. It's very high end. It's used for, well, it got invented because through the aviation industry for reducing weight on planes. So the strength to weight ratio is the key to it. But then, but we created lots of complications for ourselves just by using such a high end material that has such good strength to weight. So one of the biggest difference between our cutlery and other cutlery on the market is just, you can just tell straight away. If you literally grab Magware and just try to bend it like this, it just keeps flexing back. And then the reason that we do that is material, but also because it's such a light material, we can have 2 millimeters thickness, where if you look at most of the competition, most of them are about 1 millimeter, some even less. And that they will, if you put this sort of force on them, they'll bend straight away. So that's just, so that value of material created a lot of problems for us. But at the end of the day, it's what makes the product so nice to use, and as it had such a good reception since we launched it.
And qualitative in the end. So having, because cutlery for the outdoor is not necessarily where people would expect a designer to put his head on.
Yeah, we found it was quite an interesting area to get in. There wasn't too much innovation that had been applied to outdoor cutlery in the past. It was sort of like a cookie cutter. Brands had just done a slightly different version to each other, but there hadn't been really anything that sort of stood out from the crowd. And then we released Magware, and that's why it got such a reception. And we did, was it $700,000 worth of sales through crowdfunding, and got into every REI in the country. And yeah, we have distributors around the world now for it. And one of the other amazing qualities about this material as well is we can anodize it in different colors. So in terms of the finishing, it's called, so your general electronics are anodized, but that they don't wear that well. In terms of anodizing is quite easy to scratch. So these are what's called hard anodizing, and that created another huge problem for us as well. Because hard anodizing, the level of oxidation is about 2 or 3 times the thickness of normal anodizing, and to get consistent colors when you hard anodize is very hard. And that was a huge learning curve, and it took us about 5 or 6 months to get it right. And now we've got it right. It's great, but that's why we also can't change the colors very easily as well, because it took so long to get the colors right using this process that's not usually used for such things as cutlery.
Yeah, but great choice. The 5 colors for the sets are really amazing. So it's sad that you cannot have red ones, because as a RED-DOLPHIN company, we would love to have red cutlery, but the orange and turquoise and green they are all fantastic.
Yeah, we sort of did, they were inspired by nature. So we sort of said nature inspired. So it was the green for the forest, the blue for the ocean, the turquoise for like the tropics, red for fire, black for charcoal. So they're all sort of colors you would see in nature. So that's sort of how the color spectrum came around. And also, it's very distinctive from one another. So if people want to use their own set, straight away you can see, who belongs to who.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you were just talking before about expanding to now a lot of countries, and probably you start with your move to the US and reaching strong retailer there. That's where your biggest success is. But where have you been expanding lately? What's the latest news?
So we're talking. So we have so yourself, who looks after Switzerland, and then we have a German distributor, and then we have a French distributor in place. We've been working with for a while now, and that's going very well. But now we're looking at the Asian market. We're talking to one of the big outdoor brand distributors. So it's just talks at the moment. There's a lot to work out. But yeah, looking to the Asian market, particularly Japan, China, Malaysia, Taiwan. It's very Singapore. It keeps going. There's a huge market out there for it as well.
And it is the requirements or the user needs. You have no boundaries on this, no limit.
No, that's why with the MAGWARE, it's a very ubiquitous product in terms of it has a very wide audience in terms you can use it for picnicking, you can use it for travel, you can use it. It's very giftable as well because it's unique design and sort of vibrant colors and things. It's very giftable. So a lot of people, like we find sales around Christmas and things explode because people are buying it for other people, especially when they've bought a set themselves and they really enjoy using it every day. Then a lot of gifting, buying it for other people. And so going back to the sustainability as well, the reason I designed it was to, look at an alternative to this throwaway culture with throwing away plastics every time you have a fast food. So a lot of people, they care about that, and it's there's actually laws coming into place in places like UK, California, where they're actually going to outlaw single-use plastic utensils. So a lot of people buy it for their friends because they see their friends every lunchtime biffing away these single-use plastic utensils that get used for literally 5 minutes, and then that's the length of their lifetime, and then put in the bin. And from sustainability point of view, also the reasons we chose these particular materials is they're completely recyclable. Aluminium is it's actually cheaper and more efficient to recycle aluminium than get raw aluminium and from ore. So it's an amazing material in terms of there's more aluminium in the world today that gets recycled and constantly used than ore getting extracted from the ground for aluminium use, which is great. There's not many other materials like that.
Yeah, exactly. And back to maybe one product we haven't spoke about, but your move to Asian market with the mag stick, the chopsticks with the same magnetic feature, is certainly a product you bet on for those new markets.
Yeah, so we released the mag sticks at the same time. I've been using titanium chopsticks, and they're just such a pleasure to use. And then I was thinking, well, is there a little bit of innovation we can apply to this? And one of the things that always annoyed me about the chopsticks I had is, well, the ones that I was using were round, so they roll. But so then we looked in and we just we just changed it to a square shape so you could lay them flat. But then the other thing that was always annoying is you'd always have one in your bag and then the other one would be somewhere else. And we were just like, is there a way to tidy it up? So what we did is I designed, went for a few different iterations how exactly to do it. But so they're hollow, these chopstick design, and I designed a plug that goes in that holds a magnet inside at a particular position within the chopstick. So what it does is it holds the chopsticks together. It's not so strong that it would affect them when in use, so you don't have to worry about your sort of using your chopsticks and they keep grabbing together. But it's just strong enough to you hold one, it will hold on the other, but it just keeps it always tidy, and it keeps it so someone just can keep them nicely together. If it's just like putting them together on the table or just keeping them organized in a drawer, so they're nicely together.
with the matchsticks, you solved the nightmare we all have with the socks after washing them, and we have one and we miss the other one.
Yeah. So it was basically sort of applying the same it's only a small innovation, I realize that, but the innovation that we came up with, the MAGWARE cutlery, and just applying that to the chopsticks as well.
Yeah. And just to go also in your direction regarding what's happening in Switzerland, in our market, and I can share with you that Swiss customers, they tend to have quite high level of green conscience and appetite for technologies and solutions that respect the environment and the planet, because we are lucky enough to have great landscape here, and this is a given, but you have to respect it, and people are getting more and more aware of this.
Well, it's just such a short-sightedness that people have in terms of why have a product that life cycle is and lifespan is literally 5 minutes? You're putting all those resources into the product. Why have it so it's 5 minutes when it's so easy just to? I guess it's behavioral thing more than it is actually the product itself of people getting used. It's a bit like shopping bags. How I'm not too sure in Switzerland, but same example in the UK, they don't do single-use plastic shopping bags anymore because they realize it's just, you pollute your oceans. All the plastic was going to China anyway that people were recycling, and then China had so much of it that they don't actually use the recycled plastic anymore. So you just have this continuous chain of plastic being made, but no one can have. There's some limited capacity of recycling for it, but it's very limited. If people actually looked into the numbers, they'll realize that most of the plastic they're throwing in the recycling bin is actually going to landfill or being burnt. So why put all this energy into a product that's going to last 5 minutes? Why not just have, it's almost going back to an older way of thinking, where why not have a quality product that you can use with you every day and keep it for a generation?
But by the way, you pushed the logic as well to the pouch, the bag where we store the MAGWARE or any of your device, because this is made of recycled material.
Yeah, so that's literally made of recycled PET bottles. So it's So at least it's creating a use for all this thing that we're throwing away. So that polyester is just made 100% from recycled PET bottles.
Yeah. Moving forward, I'd like to ask you about because you seem to have a personal vision and engagement and commitment going in this direction. I saw that you are part of this 1% for the planet. Enlighten us maybe on this project and your vision around this.
So 1% of the planet, people don't wear, is an organization originally founded by the founder of Patagonia. And what it is you pledge to give 1% of your profits every year to charity that involves with environmental causes. So there's a charity in the Philippines that we give to that they collect ocean waste, ocean plastic. So they're literally gathering up plastic waste that they find in the ocean. People don't actually realize what the actual problem with the single-use plastic waste is. There's many problems, but particularly when it gets in the ocean, it goes into the food chain. So fish start eating the plastic, and it's terribly unhealthy. And not just fish, but other sea life as well, birds, turtles, the rest of it. So what happens with the plastic is they call it microplastic. What happens is it doesn't break up, it doesn't just dissolve, and it doesn't just stay whole. Over time, it breaks up into these tiny little bit of plastic, and then plastic resembles food to marine life. So a fish will come along and eat it, and then so that's a problem in terms of the fish are dying because they have all this plastic built up. But the other problem is then we're also eating the fish as well, so we're ingesting the plastic that was it's a huge problem. Every ocean in the world has got plastic in it. So and it's a very hard issue, especially because of microplastic. There is a lot of valuable work being done, people collecting plastic, with especially in the Great Pacific Garbage Packs. There's lots of companies looking to solutions to how to clean that up, but it's a microplastic that is nearly impossible to that we don't have a solution for at the moment.
It goes beyond that, Mark, unfortunately, because we even have startups and startup in Switzerland who is collecting and working on collecting and helping us collecting our own garbage in space, not only in oceans.
Yeah. So yeah, we're humans are unfortunately wasteful.
And I maybe taking you by surprise, but what are your next plans, if you can say a few words maybe to conclude about which direction are you going to aim now after the cutlery and the bike?
So because we've seen so much success with Magware and sort of been a sort of a pivot with the brand, so we're going to stick on the same trajectory where we want ubiquitous products that sort of don't target such a small niche where, you know, they're usable by most people, rather than a select niche within the outdoor market. So we want people. So yeah, we're taking the same thing, using high-end materials and little bits of innovation, and we're focusing on the camp kitchen area, just because it's an amazing space to be in, and you can also, because of people that sort of appreciate the outdoors, and there's the high-end sort of level of products within that space, we can use sort of materials that we want, and there's a market for it. And also we can also target areas where we think that there's waste as well, where we could target products that would help replace other single-use products. So we'll look into we'll expand the Magware range. Bowls, plates is definitely coming soon, and then there's another few products as well within this camp kitchen range that we've started designing small innovations, and we still sort of haven't worked out all the bits, the little problems, but we're in the process of development of these camp kitchen products that are quite ubiquitous in terms of how they can be used. They can be used for picnics, camping, traveling. Yeah, so that's the sort of area that we want to target.
Great. This actually combines super well with our interest in RED-DOLPHIN, because we do promote solar kitchen and cooking with GoSun, and your Magware and the GoSun, they combine really well for people with RVs, camping cars, or camping. So great combination in our portfolio, actually.
Yeah, and the other good thing about it is as well, people might buy them for camping, but then we actually find we've got quite a lot of feedback that people are they buy them originally for camping, but then they chuck them in their bag, and then they're actually just using them every day, just while they're at work, sitting at a desk. So yeah, daily, everyday use is also a big thing as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm really looking forward seeing the next innovations and products you're gonna prepare for us, and we'll be there to propose this to our resellers and users in Switzerland.
Yeah, I wish it was faster, but every time I design a new product, I just make it very difficult for myself, because I always like to apply these small innovations that make them more pleasurable and more exciting to use. But unfortunately, as soon as you come up with innovations, you make your life difficult in terms of, once it's outside the existing manufacturing processes, there's a lot of backwards and forwards getting it to work.
Take your time, Mark. Just design them as perfectly as we are used to from you, and then we'll be so happy to get those when they are finalized and ready. Do you think you're going to use again crowdfunding?
Yeah, so we definitely, all our products, because we've got such a strong community within the crowdfunding community now, there's no downside to launching. We serve a community. We offer them before anyone else. They get a small sort of discounted price, but just because they're backing us before they even receive the product. It's great for marketing and getting the word out there about so there's no real downside. It just and it also helps with being a small bootstrap company. Just cash flows and always a big concern when you have to have these big minimum order runs for products. So the crowdfunding community just helps with that, and it just means that basically we wouldn't even be in business if we hadn't kickstarted and reached out to those people, just because they sort of get behind it. And then once they've bought one of our products, and they sometimes might be a little bit late arriving, but we've sort of ironed that out in the past. But once they see the quality and things, then they'll usually each time we do a crowdfunding, we actually look and see who's actually backing it, and we find that up to 60-70% of the back is actually coming from the last campaign, just because they enjoy using those products so much.
Yeah, but your community is growing, so we hope to be contributing to this growth and bring new backers for your next campaigns and your next products.
Yeah, sounds amazing to me.
Well, thank you, Mark, so much for being in this discussion and sharing to help people understand better who's behind Full Windsor and why you are doing it. And we're gonna expect really and excited to see the new products coming. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren, and thanks for sharing our products with Switzerland.
Thank you, Mark. Bye-bye.
Cheers.